our next guest joins us. His name is Erik Lawyer. He is a firefighter for 9/11 Truth. He's been bringing forward this message for many years. He is retired from the Seattle Fire Department with 25 years of experience in firefighting and emergency services. Let's give it up for Erik Lawyer.
My name is Erik Lawyer, and I'm with Firefighters for 9/11 Truth. I'm here to share a video produced by Paul Cayley from Firefighters for 9/11 Truth. I'm also here on the 24th anniversary of September 11th to honor our 343 brothers that were murdered that day, and the almost 3,000 other people that were murdered that day, and the countless others that are sick, dying, and dead from the 9/11 illnesses, and the millions of people in the Middle East, including women and children, that were murdered or severely traumatized for generations, and to our military that have needlessly lost their lives because of the 9/11 lie. So this is our call as firefighters. I'm going to show you a video here.
It's been almost 25 years. We've buried our brothers, and in time their lie has become law. They called those of us lucky, fortunate, or blessed enough not to be killed that horrible day hero. And now they call those of us who continue to refuse their lie conspiracy theorists. It's long overdue that the Senate, the American people, and indeed the world finally hear the truth behind what really went on 9/11.
High-rise fires test the resolve of even the best firefighter. As the author of Engine Company Fireground Operations 4th edition, and as an international instructor on firefighting strategy and tactics, I rely on organizations like the U.S. Fire Administration, National Fire Academy, NIOSH, and NIST to provide me with the most truthful, accurate, and reliable information out there. Firefighter lives and civilian lives depend on us getting it right. And today, high-rise textbooks are now being rewritten to include the possibility of total building collapse due to fires. And this is solely based on the flawed conclusions of the NIST report. This severely challenges and questions our standard operating procedures that currently exist for strategy and tactics, evacuations, and defend in place procedures. These are life-saving procedures to protect the public. As a former professional firefighter and captain with 38 years on the line, I can tell you that as a Type 1 fire-resistant, fully sprinklered building, World Trade Center 7 was designed and constructed to withstand the fires far in excess of those it experienced on that day. No steel frame concrete Type 1 building has collapsed, completely collapsed, due to fire before or since September 11, 2001, let alone fall symmetrically within its own footprint.
As a retired firefighter, when you're looking at these buildings, it's important to realize that there have been massive fires in concrete and steel frame high-rises all around the world and in the USA. For example, the World Trade Center North Tower in 1975, the First Interstate Bank, One Meridian Plaza, Parque Central fire in Venezuela, the Windsor Tower fire, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, and many, many more. The point is, none of these collapsed from fire. It's never happened before. In fact, many of these buildings are still in use today.
As a retired professional firefighter, captain, I can assure you that fires alone did not cause the collapse of those buildings.
And as a professional pilot, I can tell you that the buildings were designed and constructed to absorb and withstand the impact of a Boeing 707, which was it's a 4-engine passenger jet, the largest Boeing at the time.
There are over 100 documented testimonies from first responders on the scene, clearly hearing numerous explosions.
We made it outside. We made it about a block.
We made it at least 2 blocks, and we started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was if they had detonated.
Yeah,
If
detonated.
they were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
All the way down. I was watching it and running.
What happened?
We was in the explosion. We was in the lobby, and the third explosion, the whole lobby collapsed on us.
Is that a secondary explosion?
Yes, it was.
That was the...
Yeah, definitely secondary explosion. Because we was inside waiting to go upstairs, and on the way upstairs, the whole blew. And we just collapsed on everybody inside the lobby. Then there was a third one too after that one. That's right.
So what you told me is that there was a plane or whatever hit the building, and then a secondary explosion.
It was like 3 explosions after that. We came in after the fire. We came when the fire was going on already. We was in the staging area inside the building.
Here, hold on. You want to call your mother or something?
Be right now.
You gotta get back from here. You know that. You gotta get back. All right.
I know.
Keep your eye on that building as they coming down.
This subject is deeply troubling, but the evidence is so cogent and so compelling that it demands a new investigation. This is Building 7, the third tower to fall on 9/11. It was not hit by a plane. We're being asked to believe that this modern building totally failed and suddenly collapsed due to mere office fires. As firefighters, we know this makes no physical sense. Many aspects of the official explanation are seriously flawed, and some are simply impossible. For example, notice that the building is coming down symmetrically, which indicates total symmetrical cross-sectional damage in an instant. Its descent was also measured at gravitational acceleration, something which NIST admitted, Alaska University confirmed, and repeated measurements have verified. The troubling thing is, this symmetrical gravitational acceleration is only achievable when all structural resistance has been removed from all 82 supporting columns up through several lower floors, as confirmed in the forensic structural analysis by the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Whilst the explanation of controlled demolition might not make political sense to many, it's the only explanation which makes physical and mathematical sense.
We may take risks, but we're no fools.
Firefighting is dangerous, but it's not reckless. Risks tend to be balanced with probability of outcome. If these buildings were truly vulnerable to collapse from normal office fires, no firefighter in his right mind would support the continued procedure of advanced staging areas in these structures as they burn, a practice which continues to this day.
And finally, why can't Americans hear about FDNY Battalion Chief Oreo Palmer, who succeeded in making it to the point of impact on the 78th floor of the South Tower with his men, and reported that he had 2 isolated pockets of fire and that we should be able to knock it down with 2 lines, contradicting the official storyline that it was a raging fire up there. Here's a brave fireman who made it onto the fire floor and was doing his job. 1 minute after the final transmission, the South Tower collapsed.
This is Battalion 7 on floor 40 of Tower 2. We got 1 elevator working up to the 40th floor, staffed by a member of Ladder 15K.
FDNY firefighters are world leaders in high-rise firefighting. This calls for outstanding physical fitness. Battalion Chief Oreo Palmer was a prime example. As both a runner and a triathlete, he was able to make exceptional progress.
Oreo! All right,
No one would do more with time than Oreo Palmer. That's him on the right with the mustache. He's receiving orders to go to the South Tower to try to clear a path to the trapped souls calling 911.
His was one of the first firefighter teams to enter the South Tower. They used an elevator to reach the 40th floor, then quickly advanced upwards. At the 74th floor, he reported no smoke or fire problems.
We're going to have to listen. I'm on 69 now, so we need to higher back, please. I'm still in voice stairway, 74th floor, no smoke or fire problem. The walls are breached, so be careful.
The firefighter team, following on closely behind Oreo, was also reporting manageable fires.
All right, 10th floor, we're going to knock down some fire here in the B stair and we'll meet up with you. You get over to the A stair and help out Chief Palmer.
The destruction of these incredibly strong towers was blamed on the fires at the impact zone. Oreo's tower was hit by the second plane, on fire the least, yet came down first, only minutes after these conflicting reports of manageable fires.
We got two isolated pockets of fire. We should be able to knock it down with 2 lines. Where you know that? 78th floor, numerous 1045 call horns. 478. 10th floor, we have numerous civilians. We're going to get 2 engines up here. All right, 10th floor, we're on our way.
So it would seem, until now, that we have left unmolested those who set fire to the house and prosecuted those who sounded the alarm. But that is changing. People lie, but the facts don't. All the American people want now is the truth based on the facts.
Look, this issue isn't going away. The reason it remains controversial is that no one is satisfied with the explanations coming from the government scientists and structural engineers. The blood spilled at ground zero will continue to cry out to the heavens until the truth is widely known and spoken boldly by those whom the public can trust.
Firefighters calling for a new investigation. The simple reason is the one done did not follow proper procedures. In fact, it was a criminal investigation, and our lives and civilian lives depend on us getting the information right so we can upgrade codes, change strategies, change tactics. That was not given to us. We've not been given the true information of what happened. So what was actually done? Well, within days, the evidence will say, we're going to stick to Tower 7. The evidence from Tower 7 was destroyed. It was shipped off, removed from the scene. That could be done, could be excused for rescue and recovery operations. But those, once that's removed, it has to be protected. So it can be investigated, it can be examined. It was not. It was destroyed. The steel was recycled. There's almost no evidence left for the investigation. And as others have pointed out, the investigation started years later. So what did they do is NIST was tasked with this investigation. So it's the National Institute of Standards and Technologies. You would assume they would follow the national standards. On the first ever high-rise building collapse due to fire, it's 47 stories for those who don't know, and thank Redacted for the live streaming. For those who don't know who might be watching, it's the first ever high-rise building collapse. And how would I say it? It should have been the most thoroughly investigated, examined building ever, so that we understand how that happened and why it happened, prevent it from happening again. But it was not. So NIST, that was tasked with this investigation, they did not follow the national standards. They came up with excuses. They claimed that there were no witnesses to explosions, no audio recordings, no video recordings. You just saw them. So that's their excuse for not following, for not testing for explosives. Because you also saw in this video other high rises that have burned for hours, and they did not collapse, they did not tip over. And you also saw controlled demolitions. Tower 7 matches controlled demolitions precisely. What are controlled demolitions? They're explosives. So the NFPA 921 that Commissioner Joya mentioned, that's our gold standard for, it's the basics, I'll call it, for fire and explosion investigations. We should go way beyond that on something like this. So the fact that you don't even follow the basics and you look for excuses not to test, that's criminal. When you destroy evidence, that's criminal. It's a federal crime. It's destruction of evidence. It's a felony. Nobody's been held accountable. So, needless to say, we can say it was a criminal investigation. So where do we go from here? Well, all the people in this room and the 9/11 Truth Movement for years have been calling for a new investigation. They've been providing the evidence, researching, investigating themselves, and in the last 24 years have an incredible breadth and depth of information of what actually happened. So where do we go? Well, you've probably heard the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. We didn't get a proper investigation from the federal government. Everything we've tried, FOIAs and requests for new investigation, requests for everything's been denied. Just Jeff Campbell's case is a classic example. Everything's being denied. So it's insanity to ask the federal government, President Trump or anyone else, for an investigation. It's not going to happen. So where do we go? Well, divine providence kind of stepped in. So Gene and Sandra talked about it last night. The way we're here today in this room, there was a sequence of events. I call it a divine sequence. And what ended up happening was Gene read an email years ago about the NFPA conference. One thing led to another. What happened from there was Captain Raul Angulo, who you saw in here, who actually wrote the manual in association with the NFPA. It's called Engine Company and Fireground Operations. So he's an international author. He has relationships around the world. He's an international trainer, and he has connections. So he steps in and he realizes after years, when he wrote the manuals, actually what made him realize it was something's not right. He didn't even know that much about Tower 7 and couldn't find any other building that had ever collapsed. So we challenged him, and he took on the challenge and said, if you're going to write the manual, you got to be responsible. He agreed. So he stepped up in a big way. So Raul stepped in, and then what ended up happening was many more steps, and then Raul was invited to write an article for an international fire journal. When he did that, it got the attention of Congressman Kurt Weldon, who just spoke also. And when Congressman Weldon read the article, he was moved by it, and he reached out. And he said, his passion is contagious, as you know, and he said, he suggested we write a proposal to President Trump for a presidential 9/11 commission. And one of the things that he said really resonated with me is this report, this proposal, there it is. There you go. There it is. So he had us write this. And this is for the president. Help us see, if we're going to do this right, we can't have any government bureaucrats, any government officials, nobody with a government contract. Because if anyone's paycheck depends on what they say on that report, it's not a truthful report. So we were off. Captain Agul kind of took the lead, and we created that report that you just saw. And at the same time, parallel, Congressman Weldon started going on podcasts, like he mentioned. So he went on Redacted, he went on Tucker Carlson, and many others. And his passion was contagious. And Senator Johnson saw one of those interviews. And as he mentioned, he called him on Easter. It was Easter Sunday, he said. So Senator Johnson's a man that cares, and he reached out, and he wanted to do something. So from there, what ended up happening was Senator Johnson connected with Richard. And when he connected with Richard, they met, and Richard shared more of the evidence. And then just yesterday, Richard brought us, several people from the team, to meet with Senator Johnson in his office with 3 staffers. So we did that yesterday. And it was my first time meeting Senator Johnson in person. I've seen his interviews, but I can tell you, this man cares. He has a huge heart, and he's not here to cover anything up. He's here to help us get this out. But he's also a wise man. So he confirmed a lot of things a lot of us know. There are corrupt forces controlling the government. He would be basically unable to bring this into Senate hearings right now. As he pointed out, he has a small staff. They're working on the COVID hearings right now. And he said, if I bring it in with just my staff and myself, you guys have done 20 plus years of research. You've got a huge different team that's worked on different areas. I could never do anything like that. So he says, if I go in there, I'm going to be shot out of there. He said, those corrupt controlling forces will basically stop us in our tracks. So he said, what we need, he said, you've approached President Trump, you've approached me for a non-political, no government people involved commission. Do it yourself, and then I can help. And so what we're calling for, what he suggested is basically a firefighter and citizen-led 9/11 commission. So it's of the people, by the people, for the people, outside of the government. And so he said, when we do that, what we need to do is as I said, he's wise and he's strategic. And he goes, what we do then is we build the political or the public pressure the support. When people see this, he goes, we need to make it on or put it on a silver platter. It needs to be easy to read, super digestible, and it has to be irrefutable. Cover the whole breadth, like Congressman Weldon's calling in, bring in all the different pieces, not just the building structure, but the intelligence and everything else. Make it easy to read. And he said, so that way we can share that with the American people, with people in positions of power in the government that do want to do the right thing and don't understand what's happening. The military, who do want to do the right thing, a lot of them don't understand what's happening. And then people around the world. He said, when we do that, we build more pressure, basically. So when the American people are behind me, I can do something about it. And he said, so then we work together to come forward. And he said, all I can do is provide you a platform. And that platform raises awareness. And I know from personal experience, for the many years I've been in this, one of the big challenges is when you're stuck in the control system and don't see it for what it is, the fear, the control, the lies, you're stuck in it. And I was stuck in it for most of my life. And until I stepped out of it, could I see it differently? But if people step out of it alone and they're not together, they go right back into it. It's really easy to slip back in and believe the lies that come out, the new false flags, the COVIDs, the whatever. It's so easy to get sucked in. So we're kind of here at a choice point. And the choice is silence and complicity. So we don't say anything, we don't do anything. Complicity, or rise together and face the fear. The consequence of complicity is the world we see today. So when we do nothing, we say nothing, we don't take action, we're going to create more of this. It's actually going to get much worse, in my opinion. The other choice is rise together and face the fear. And as someone in the meeting said yesterday, the truth is painful, but the lies are killing us. So it's our choice. Are we going to stay complicit and destroy this world, destroy humanity, or are we going to face the fear and save our own lives? So the decision is fear and complicity or love in action. So on this 24th anniversary, I'd say let's honor all the fallen by building a better world together. Let's build a better world together by choosing love in action. And let's do it for the 343, for all the fallen, and for humanity. And I'd say let's do it together, and let's start by creating a firefighter and civilian 9/11 commission that goes into Senate hearings and wakes people up. And I'd like to add that it's not just about waking people up, because when we understand how the control system works and we have enough of us, brothers and sisters along each side, have each other's back, from that place we start feeling safer. When we start feeling safer, we're not in survival mode. So when we're not in survival mode, we can begin creating. And so when we know we can step above the corruption, so the corrupt system, if we're stuck in it, we're in it. If we can see it for what it is and we rise together, now we can begin seeing new choices, new opportunities. So I'm not saying the answer is anything other than getting enough of us standing alongside, willing to face the fear and the truth together. And from that place, we're going to create something beautiful. I know it in my heart. And just thank you.